Warning. The following program contains content about sports and the sports world. This show is an assembly of college kids who enjoy sports and like yapping about said sports. Claims and views described and promoted do not reflect those of Central Michigan University, the Central Michigan University Broadcast and Cinematic Arts Program, or Moore Hall Television. If you should have any comments, questions, or concerns, reach out to the show via email, cardguyshow@gmail.com. Please subscribe to the channel. Leave a like if you feel so inclined. Perhaps leave a comment down below. And please enjoy the following program.
You are listening to WMHW HD1 and HD2 Mount Pleasant, Mountain 91.5, a service of Central Michigan University School of Broadcast and Cinematic Arts. Live from the Dr. Jerry Henderson Radio Complex, it's time for Card Guys. And now, here's your host, Anthony Schulte.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Michael, for that beautiful intro, and thank you, Tyler Brazel, for the wonderful instrumental. Folks, welcome to the Card Guys Season 2 premiere, and I am very excited. Coming up today, we take a look back at the Detroit sports weekend, go over a huge Lions playoff victory. The Pistons actually won a national championship victory for the victors and a super wild card weekend in the NFL. Join me as always in the studio, my brother, Ryan Donnelly.
Internet viewers, this is for you!
Yes, sir. And also joining us in studio, someone's becoming a regular here on the show, Mr. Michael Rosenkranz.
Yo, I'm so excited for Season 2. Can't wait to have you all with us today. We got a great show for you.
It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun season. We can't wait for you all to listen and enjoy. Starting us off today, a huge weekend in the Detroit sports world. We're going to start with the Pistons. We're going to start with kind of the lesser of the three evils here. One on the road against the equally as terrible Washington Wizards, 129-117. As you can see if you're on YouTube, on the bottom score sheet, Burks had 34. Duren, had 20 and 19 on 100% shooting. By the way, the Pistons 3-0 when Duren has 15 and 15 this season, and they snapped a 7-game losing skid, resetting the losing streak, we could say.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Kyle Kuzma tweeted like a week before they played, like, you don't want to be that team, and they were that team. And oh my gosh, what an electric win it was in Cobb 307, Anthony.
Oh yeah, the first win actually watching here in the dorm room. We are 1-23 while viewing in Cobb 307.
I just can't get over that record that you just said in Cobb 307. Yep. 1-23. That record itself is worse than the Pistons' current record.
Yep, it is. And hopefully we make it 2-23 tonight against
the Timberwolves,
the number 1 seed Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, shout out Jacob Tenson.
I don't think we're going to, win. But, hey, coming off momentum. And if there's one thing that Monty's good at, is that winning off the momentum. He's not good at that at all, but
he's not good at really anything.
He's not good at anything because he's a terrible coach. However, I don't know. The last Monday's win was incredible. Great for the city, great for the team, and without Cade, without Bogey, and without Gallinari too.
Gallo, yes sir.
Danilo Gallinari, who by the way got traded to the Pistons along with Mike Muscala for Isaiah Livers and Marvin Bagley. I wish it was Wiseman, but still.
Hey, hold on, we're saving that Wiseman for Pascal Siakam. Oh wait,
Siakam got traded to the Pacers.
Siakam's going to get traded to the Pacers. Not official yet, but it's in talks. Shams is just trying to keep us entertained while we wait for all the big trades to go down. Detroit, we're going to talk about them a little bit later in the show, more on their historic run, we'll call it, while we were away. One thing I did notice in that Wizards game is the heart that we played with. Now, over that 28-game losing streak, over this entire season, really, we've seen the team fall and sometimes not get back up. Recently, especially as of recently, this team's been resilient and they've been trying to win. it doesn't help when, and I say this analogy all the time, you could have all the good ingredients, right? You could have the salt, the pepper, you could have the paprika, you could have the cumin. Everything could look good when you're putting it all together. You could have the nice filet mignon, right? You could have the mashed potatoes. You could put it all together. If it's not cooked right, it doesn't matter the ingredients. If it doesn't go together, it doesn't go together, right? And that's this Detroit Pistons team. You can find a puzzle piece. It looks like it should go next to that one puzzle piece, right? But it doesn't fit, right? Either it doesn't have the right openings, or it just doesn't. That's not where the puzzle piece is supposed to go. That's the Detroit Pistons roster. It looks great on paper. In 2K, I can guarantee you that this roster was somewhat built on 2K, because we got a bunch of 80 overalls, at least at the start of the season, and they're not playing like it. On paper, looks like a great team with a lot of potential. And honestly, I could see why Troy Weaver was happy with this product. I could see why, I was a fan that was excited as well. But it just doesn't fall in line. And when you see a team get knocked down this much, they're missing their star player. They're missing their other star player. And they're just hungry for a win. 18-game losing streak on the road, 16-game losing streak at Capital One Arena, both snapped. Because Ivy played great, Duran was an all-star, and Burks has been on a heater since Utah. He's been phenomenal. And I think the big catalyst to this win, and we didn't have Bagley or Livers either, technically. The big catalyst to this win is the Pistons, I want to say grit. Let's say grit. Let's keep with the theme of Detroit sports here in this segment. The Red Wings. How about them Wings? Back-to-backs this weekend against LA and Toronto, a home and away, home against LA, away against Toronto. A big weekend for the Red Wings, a much-needed weekend.
4-0-1 in the last 5. We got Florida tonight.
Yep.
We got Tampa, along with Tampa on.
We got a Tampa Sunday.
We got Tampa Sunday this Sunday. We got Lions and Red Wings. We are on a roll. Kane's out for a couple games.
He's out for the rest of the road trip.
Yeah,
he could come back on Sunday,
which would be great. He did have a scary injury earlier in the game, but he looked fine. It didn't look like surgery was needed. But all in all, we've been on fire. Goaltending has looked beautiful, and that's our big struggle. Like having Lyon back in the lineup and not using Husso, who I think is our worst goaltender, is wonderful. Like we're using Reimer and we're using Lyon a lot, which is perfect. And jeez, like everybody is doing their part. This is what Lalonde wanted to see at the beginning of the year, and the product that we've seen so far has been incredible. And I love this team. I said at the beginning of the year I had a scary feeling about the Red Wings, and I didn't even know about hockey at the time. So
a scary good feeling.
A scary good feeling. Like we got DeBrincat. We got before Kane. We got Larkin, Kopp, Comfer, Perrott, Kopp. Like I said Kopp twice, but we're doing something.
Don't forget Wallman.
And Jake Wallman, don't forget hitting the gritty, you know?
Oh,
you're going to see that on YouTube.
Boy. I'm so sorry.
Subscribe to YouTube.
I'm so sorry for our YouTube viewers.
Yeah, we have a new YouTube channel now. Just get that out of the way.
That's big. That's big for the show.
Big show. We're filming this on cameras right now.
It just looked like you made a couple of three-pointers. It didn't even look like what it was.
Hey, the Pistons need some shooting.
Yes,
I don't know if Danilo's playing tonight. I don't know if Muscala's playing tonight.
They better. That'd be very helpful.
Huge, yeah.
But
by the way, Bogdanovich is probable.
Well, that's better than out.
And you know what's scary? And I hate to interrupt the Red Wings segment, but I just remembered this. Cade's got that injury. They said 7 to 10 days. It's been 10 days, and we haven't heard a thing. I don't think he's been reevaluated. He has the same thing in his knee that Monte Morris has in his hamstring. Or quad. Excuse me, quad. Problem, because every single time they say he'll be reevaluated, it always gets pushed back another month. That's what happened with Monte. I really hope it's not the same thing. Monte will be back in 1 week from today.
I thought he was coming back tonight.
No, 1 week from today. He said 216 hours the other day. And I did the math. I looked it up on Google.
You are an obsessed Pistons fan.
I have an issue.
You have. I think type 1 in the comments if Anthony needs a break from the Pistons.
There is no break. It's a constant grind.
He has a very good commitment to the Pistons, if y'all don't know. But
it's an unbreakable cycle.
It's he loves the
It
Pistons.
never ends.
He will take time out of his day to watch the Pistons, but
Help.
so do I. So, but
Oh my gosh.
just back to the Red Wings.
Back to the Red Wings. No more
see.
Pistons. Oh, wait. We have more later.
We swept California. We own
did.
California, both the Lions and the Red Wings, the two best teams in Detroit sports, own.
We did beat both the Los Angeles teams. The Lions did.
Yes,
Yeah.
they did on a game-winning field goal.
I
We beat the
just
Rams, we
remember
beat the
that.
Chargers, we beat the Kings,
I think
we
a combined 4 points.
we beat the Ducks, and we beat the other one.
The other one.
The other California.
Sharks?
The Sharks.
There you go.
We own Detroit owns all of California. So the glitz and glamour of L.A. is dead. The Detroit has taken over.
Yeah.
And I'm happy how the Wings are turning out.
I'm happy Kane avoided injury to that hip.
Yeah.
When they said
Yes.
lower body, I had a near heart attack because I did not want to see Patrick Kane go down with a hip injury after basically the Tommy John of hockey. We just found out.
But he looks great.
He looked great, and it's not a hip, and you know what? I'll take it.
If it was another hip injury, I promise you he could have been so close to probably just retiring.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
if it would have been if it would have been some on that hip where especially where he got surgery, that would have been it.
Yep. And he's been way too good for us.
Yeah.
Way too good for us to lose him.
I love Patrick Kane.
Yeah.
Especially his recent shootout goals and how effortless they are. I mean, for a top scorer in the league, he just makes it look so effortless, and that's what I love about him.
He's got a gift. He has
does.
a gift.
He does.
It's effortless. Like you said, it's effortless scoring, especially in the shootout. Like, having him in a shootout, that's really big for us. And DeBrincat is our all-star, which All-Star Weekend is coming up, which is going to be very fun to watch. The way DeBrincat and Kane play together, I think especially on this West Coast series, really speaks volumes on why Yzerman wanted Kane so bad, why he pursued Kane so bad, because of that chemistry they have. I mean, I mean, they haven't played together in a couple years, and it's like they were playing together all along. You know, it's really special to watch sometimes, especially with Larkin. I mean, Larkin's been phenomenal too.
He's been going on a tear the last few games.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing that I love about Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat, whenever one of them scores, you always see one of the other counterpart on an assist.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
Like if Patrick Kane scores, Alex DeBrincat gets one of the assists. Mm-hmm. And that's
Or
what I
if DeBrincat scores, Kane
gets the assist. That's what I love about those two. They connect together so well. They always want to provide scoring chances for each other. One Kane goal that really stuck out to me was his little toe drag and then the move to beat.
Yeah.
I think it was in the Toronto game.
I want to say it's Toronto. I wasn't watching the Toronto game as we were watching the Lions, but we did have score updates. Thank you so much, Detroit Red Wings Twitter.
There you go.
And the Detroit Red Wings app.
Yes.
And another big thing about the Red Wings really quickly. Should they beat the Florida Panthers tonight, and if the Leafs lose, I think they play Calgary tomorrow, Red Wings will jump up back to third in the Atlantic Division.
Whoa.
Please.
And especially with that recent little losing skin, little losing cluster we just had, that's big. That's very
Go
big.
Flames.
Go Flames, yes.
Yes, we're going to be rooting for the Flames for the sake of the Red Wings because I want this team to get into a playoff spot with the drought of 7 years with the Red Wings needs to end. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's going to end this season.
And you know what?
I
This
really do.
team, once they gel a little bit more, they could be scary. They could be like the Houston Texans of the football, of the hockey, of the Stanley Cup playoff.
I could honestly see that.
Yep.
I could honestly see that.
And we're going to get to more Texans later. We're going to move on to the Detroit Lions. What a story from Ford Field this past weekend. It's bringing tears to my eyes right now, just thinking about it. I remember right after that game, just in front of my TV, I was holding back tears, man. What a moment for Detroit sports. For the first time in 33 years, 1991 was the last time the Detroit Lions won a football game in the playoffs. It was against the Dallas Cowboys. 33-6, I do believe, was the final score of that game. Thank goodness it was against the Cowboys. I'm sorry, Ryan. You know, you are.
You know what? I'm happy.
Fan.
I'm genuinely happy that the Cowboys lost. Because, I just don't care about them in the playoffs because they lose. They somehow find a stupid way to lose. Like a couple years ago when Dak ran and forgot to spike it. Last year when Zeke was center. And then this year they just sucked.
I remember watching that Dak running the ball up the middle live and without the timeouts. And my dad and I were saying the same thing. Why are you doing that with no timeouts? You didn't get out of bounds. Dak, you are stupid.
Yep.
Dak is the dumbest person I've ever seen.
And we'll get to more on that game and just the oddity that is Jordan Love later in the show. The Lions, however, have a familiar foe coming into Ford Field. It's Matthew Stafford. Fans, obviously, everybody has a soft spot in their heart for Stafford. 12 years here, did incredible things for us, but he didn't do one thing. He didn't win a playoff game. He made it to the playoffs 3 times. Didn't win a playoff game. That was the big thing. That was going to be his legacy in Detroit. Whoever wins the playoff game first is going to have their legacy cemented no matter what. And seeing that crowd and hearing not only the boos, but Jared Goff, Jared Goff, Jared Goff was absolutely amazing. An electric atmosphere it was. And an electric first quarter we had. What was it? The first 3 possessions we scored a touchdown?
Yes.
First 3 possessions we scored a touchdown. I mean, obviously on the other end we're letting Puka bombs go off and Tutu Atwell is scoring 58-yard touchdowns on us. But regardless, one thing I did notice in this game was our defense. A lot of people are getting down on the defense. Secondary sucks. Look, it's subpar. I won't say it's the best defense in the world, no. I won't say it's the best secondary in the world, no. But after halftime, they were given one task, one job. Do not give up another touchdown. Don't give up another big play. We heard it from Dan Campbell himself when he was being spoken to at halftime. Don't give up any more big-time plays. All of their touchdowns were big-time plays. Eliminate the big-time play, and you're fine. What did they do? They held them to 2 field goals. In the waning minutes of this game, the defense came up huge, absolutely huge in getting big stops. That is the catalyst for this win, was the defense stepping up. Aiden Hutchinson, have yourself a day. Cam Sutton, you got beat a couple times, but when it mattered, have yourself a day. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, had a few mistakes, have yourself a day. Kindle Vildor, you had a big play. That's all I'll say about you.
Yeah,
you had
he
a big
got
play.
burnt by Puka. I don't like you, Vildor.
He had one big play, though, and that's all that matters.
One.
The defense stepped up when they needed to. Yes, they gave up some big plays. Yes, those are glaring problems, but they're fixable. What doesn't stand out, though, is just how impactful they were in eliminating the pass so we could get to Stafford and give him a beatdown. He was beat up. He was bullied. He was taken out to the back of the schoolyard and punched and kicked and thrown. And our defensive line did their job. Our secondary allowed the defensive line to do their job in that second half. And you know what? Props to them. Props to Aaron Glenn. Props to the defense for stepping up when they needed to and delivering this city their first playoff win in 33 years. Just incredible stuff. I get emotional thinking about it. I've watched every single season of Lions football. Every season of Lions football. Just like Pistons basketball, just like Tigers baseball. Red Wings I've been in and out of because of the Pistons. Look, it's just by virtue. All right? The Pistons run paths with the Red Wings. I can't say that doesn't happen. But watching this team go from 3-13-1 to a playoff victory in what, 2 seasons? 2 seasons?
2 or 3, yeah.
Starting 1-6 last season. Last season in Week 7. If you tell me we win the division this year, the next year basically, we win the division in a playoff game, and we have the Buccaneers, who we took care of earlier in the season, which they're a different team now.
Very different team.
But we have a chance to go to the NFC Championship, and a realistic chance. And if the Packers pull off another upset, a realistic chance to make a Super Bowl, I would have looked at you and laughed. For hours. Call me Eric Cartman. The way I would laugh at you. For hours. And look where we are. That's Dan Campbell. That's Jared Goff. That's Brad Holmes. That's Sheila Ford. That's everybody. That's the ball boys, the equipment managers, the dudes washing the jerseys. It's everybody in that organization that makes that baby run. As Dan Campbell said, that place was humming. It needs to be humming again on Sunday.
Jared Goff, what a game. 81.5% completion rate, a touchdown, no sack, or no picks, 3 sacks, and a QBR of 74.6. Wow. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
This has to do with, this is the thing, Detroit has some good front offices. Besides Troy Weaver, he can go get fired, but just the city of Detroit is on the rise, except for the Pistons. Unfortunately,
Thanks.
Sorry.
Thanks for the reminder, buddy.
But, man, this team is special. And the fact that we get to play Tampa at home when Tampa's not good on the road. And the last time we played Tampa, we didn't have Jonah Jackson. We didn't have CJ. We didn't have Houston. We didn't have Monty. We didn't have Gibby. We didn't have anybody. We had Goff, Laporta, Amon-Ra, and that's it. Craig Reynolds, who was our blocking running back, was the RB1 that week. We won 20-6.
On my birthday, too.
On his happy birthday.
What a birthday present that was. That was great.
We go into the playoffs with another home game. Thank you, Green Bay.
Thank you, Packers. Go
Thank
Pack,
you.
go. One time in my
Thank
life,
you,
I will
Pack.
say go Pack, go.
And I hope the Packers beat the San Francisco 49ers. I really
Unlikely,
do.
but possible.
I hope.
What a story that would be if that were to be true.
If
Oh, yeah.
my cousin and roommate, Calvin Cousins, told me this. This was if the Eagles won, but what if we beat our old quarterback in the wild card? What if we beat Patricia, Slay, and Swift in the second round, and then we beat our rivals in the championship? And then we go into the Super Bowl playing the Ravens, who crushed us earlier this year. But to be fair, I genuinely think the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl.
I do as well.
They're
Yeah.
freaky insane.
But a team can catch them off guard. Look at what the Rams did to them. They gave them a run for their money.
This is the NFL. Anything can happen.
Yep.
Although I do think it's scripted. I'm kidding.
And
But
script writers are
script
playing
writers
a
are
flaming
cooking this.
piano in this playoffs.
they're the writing on a flaming piece of paper video.
See, we can't get Patricia and Slay. We can't knock out that vengeance of our
However,
past.
we get Baker Mayfield, who basically knocked us out of a playoff spot last year.
That is
because
right.
He was terrible. That game
He threw the pick that knocked
threw
us
that
out.
pick to Quandre Diggs, former Lion. To be fair, that was on him. That was on the reffing that game, and that was on just Jalen Ramsey carried that game. I remember, but the fact that we get to play Baker, who I don't even like at all, I hate Baker Mayfield. We get to play him at home at Ford Field with the momentum that's going. We could possibly go to the NFC Championship. Can we make the Super Bowl? That I don't know. I'm on and off about that. Could we win the Super Bowl? I don't think so. Personally, I think we have one more year until we can actually be contenders. The fact that this is a rebuilding year.
Yeah.
This year is a rebuilding year. We're in the divisional round. Is crazy. Dan Campbell has turned this franchise around from the same old Lions, the curse of Bobby Lane, to the Jared Goff Renaissance era. I never liked Stafford when he played for Detroit because the one thing that, if you want to cement yourself as a Detroit Lions legend, you have to win a playoff game. He did not do that. To be fair, he could have done it, but that was on the refs against the Cowboys in 2014. But before that, no, he couldn't do it. He was a great quarterback. I'll give him that. But Jared Goff is my quarterback. Was I skeptical when he came in? Actually, no, I wasn't skeptical at all when he came in. I was very happy that Stafford was gone because we got so much value out of him. Because we got Goff, we got Laporta, we got J-Mo, we got McNeil, I think. I don't remember all the draft picks off the top of my head, but we got a lot of guys. Thank you, Brad Holmes. You are you and Campbell and Sheila Ford Hamp are the saviors of the Lions. And the fact that we get another home playoff game and possibly one more if the Packers win blows not only my mind, but all Detroit sports fans' mind.
Really quickly before I get to my little spiel here, maybe a little bit of breaking news.
Oh, we got breaking news.
Eric Schlitt of
Who?
Pride of Detroit
I don't have the
with the headline, James Houston's evaluation clock nears expiration, Lions decision looming. This clock expires tonight.
We could.
Is that
we
the,
could
it
get
wasn't the
new-
IR window?
folks. We could get news about James Houston playing on Sunday against the
I'm
Bucs.
setting up my phone in
And this
case
was
we have a
back
bomb.
on December 28th. The Lions cleared Houston to practice, which opened up, I think it was
The 21-day window.
21-day window, yes.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, folks. We could have news within the hour. We will update if there is. If you're listening live on 91.5 The Mountain on YouTube, you'll already know. But hey, you'll get it here too. I want to talk about one more thing and about the Lions. Kelly Stafford.
Oh, I do not like her.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
I was booing her, not her kid, not their
Kelly
kids.
Stafford. What are we doing?
What a joke.
Can we realize just the moment? What fan base, especially one as passionate as Lions fans, are going to cheer and welcome back somebody they're playing in their first home playoff game in 30 years? What are we doing? They were booing me and my kid. What did she say? They were booing my kids, and she switched the story to they were booing me?
Exactly. She
Okay.
started off with both, I think it was her kids and herself, and then she switched it up in ways like, nah, we're actually going to pump the brakes here. They were booing me, not my kids. Like, which one is it?
Right. Pick one.
Exactly. Dude, I can't with Kelly
She's
Stafford
got to
sometimes.
understand
I
that.
can't. I can't with Kelly Stafford.
She's got to
sometimes.
understand that Stafford did nothing in Detroit besides set records and throwing lobs to Calvin Johnson. Of course we're going to boo him. Maybe we do play the Rams at home next year. Maybe then
That's when he'll get his
That's
warm
when he'll
reception.
get his flowers. That's
He'll
when
get
he'll
his
get
video.
his tribute video. That's when we can cheer for Stafford. But when his first ever game back at Ford Field is the playoff game at home, what do you expect?
Right.
We're not booing you, Kelly. Well, we could, but sorry. I know you're good friends with Help Me Hank on Local 4 News. I know you have a podcast with Help Me Hank on Apple Podcasts.
He should be
and
asking
Spotify.
Hank for some help on how to read a
Maybe
crowd.
you should ask. You should maybe help Hank, or maybe you should ask Hank for help about the Lions. We're not booing you. We're booing your husband.
I just don't get it with Kelly Stafford at times, and maybe my fellow radio host that I love listening to, Mr. Mike Valenti on 97.1 The Ticket,
Legend.
had a good point. Detroit legend, absolutely. He was talking about the Stafford jersey ban when it was first coming out, and he says, you know what? How about we ban Kelly Stafford from Ford Field,
Yep.
too?
Yes.
He is another one of those people that just does not care about Kelly Stafford. And after what happened, especially after the wild card game and these comments are surfacing, it's just like, how much more can you take and how far will Kelly Stafford be willing to go?
Yeah.
And from that weekend, she can go lengths.
Yep.
It seems like she will go lengths to try and get something out there and trying to defend Matthew Stafford and her family.
And
But
it
sorry,
makes sense.
Kelly, ain't working for you.
It makes sense her trying to defend.
Yeah.
Like if there were actually targeted boos at her and her kids, understandable.
Absolutely.
There wasn't. It was towards Matthew.
It was towards Matthew
It
Stafford.
was towards Matthew Stafford.
Without a doubt.
We're not going to cheer for the dude. I think anybody running out of that tunnel that's playing us in our first home game in the playoffs in 30 years, anybody's going to get booed the exact same way. It just happened to be Matthew Stafford. That's just the nature of the sport and having a passionate fan base. And the sooner she realizes that and maybe offers an apology to the fans that are there, maybe we can make amends.
I will not take back my boos to the Stafford. I was going to say Stafford family, but I would never boo kids.
No.
Or,
Oh,
or
not
his
at
wife.
all.
I will never. Like,
Nobody cares
They're
enough about
innocent.
Kelly Stafford to boo her when we're trying to win a playoff game. Nobody cares
we're
enough.
we're not a cursed franchise anymore.
We're breaking the curse as we speak.
We were a
Yes.
cursed we're starting to be a cursed franchise, and it's just the fact that our old quarterback,
Our
who
old
was
buddy.
our old buddy Matthew Stafford was playing in our first playoff games at home since 1991. We're going to boo.
Yep.
That's just the nature of the sport.
It's just sport.
You got to understand that, Kelly.
For 60 minutes, we're not friends. But after that,
I will boo her
shake your
next
hand.
year when we play. I will boo Stafford and her. That's it.
Yeah, now next year people will be booing Kelly Stafford. We will be cheering for Matthew.
Oh, yeah.
Valenti, I'm on your side.
I think
I'm
that's
never really
one
on
take
your
from Valenti we can all agree
And
with.
I'm never
Facts.
really on his side when it comes to sports takes. Because he's funny, but he's one of my media heroes.
Hey,
but
you know what? Nobody believed him when he was talking Troy. Me personally, I was like, I can't listen to this guy talk basketball because of his thoughts on Troy Weaver. He's right. The more you know, he's right.
this year's the year I realized, okay, maybe all those years listening in the car with my dad, he might be right about
He
some
might have been
stuff.
on to something before all of us brainwashed fans were. Speaking of Troy Weaver, the Detroit Pistons, or as the NBA likes to refer to them, the Detroit Pictons.
The Detroit Pistons.
Oh, boy. The Detroit Pistons were on a 28-game losing streak during our absence, an absolutely brutal and depressing time for the 4 concurrent viewers on Bally Sports Detroit and the 1 concurrent viewer on 97.1 The Ticket, who's sitting right here. Nobody watches this team other than at the end of the streak, the Celtics game, the Raptors game, a lot of games at the end of that streak people were watching. In fact, Troy Dan, a popular YouTuber, Troy Dan, made a vlog video and was at the game and made national headlines because of his shirt reading, "I flew in from Canada to watch the Detroit Pistons lose 28 games."
That's where that came
Yep.
from.
That's
That's
one
where
of
that came
one
from.
of my favorite YouTubers of all time, by the way.
Yep. Same
Probably
here.
one of our favorite YouTubers of all time.
I've watched him since 2016.
I've watched
He's
him
great.
since he pulled 3 diamonds in 2K16 and became the Pack God.
Oh, yeah.
And Wheel of 2K, I've been there since Wheel of 2K1.
Legendary series.
Legendary series that he still does to this day. And seeing that, I was like, oh my God. That's how you know we're terrible.
We are not that great of a team. 28 straight games for the Pistons with L's at the end of every 48 minutes, or sometimes 53, depending on if we make it a game or not. Detroit, towards the end of that, they're about 13 games in that losing streak I can go off on and say we should have won. We lost by single digits. We had it right there. We were winning at some point in the fourth. It's just a young and experienced team. That's what happens. You get those type of losses. It's just unfortunate they all stacked together. That Celtics game should have been a win.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sorry, it should have been a win. We're up by 21, and we blew a 21-point lead. We could have offered the Celtics their only home loss this season.
I was going to say, this wasn't a part of the streak, but we should have won the Kings game, too.
We should have. And the Utah game.
Yep.
And that's and the Rockets game.
Well, the Utah game was out of luck.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Oh, gosh, the Rockets game.
It was out
And
of
the
Alec
Rockets game.
Burks chucking a 3, and somehow, some way, it went in. And also, we should have won that Rockets game.
A lot of games we
It was like
could have,
trying to
should have,
shoot
would
a.
have.
It was like
You mentioned the 4 concurrent viewers during the streak. I was watching during the streak.
Yeah.
I will admit, that game against Houston just broke me even more, even though my
Well, what
dad and I
won?
were...
The 30-point loss or the 2-point loss?
The 2-point
Yep.
loss. The 2-point loss. And what made me laugh even more, because my dad was cracking up after the final shot didn't go in, but it's just like, wow, dude. Like, even if the Pistons try, if they try and make it interesting, sometimes it's just, they cannot even buy a win.
Yep. That's what happens when a young team goes on such a mentally deflating losing streak. You saw it with this team. They got down in the dumps. There is a video compilation that I use when I am sad about the Pistons, of the Pistons being sad on the losing streak. You see Cade sitting there, just staring into nothing, not knowing what to do.
We're not 2-26 bad. No,
We're not
we're
2-26 bad, are we? No,
we're
not.
4-34 bad.
And I was watching a YouTube video actually right before this program, and it was about the worst team in NBA history. A lot of people are dubbing the Pistons as the worst team in NBA history. To the contrary, we are not last in any single metric. The Charlotte Bobcats, that 7-win Charlotte Bobcats team, they were last in every single metric.
And you got to think about that, too, because they were on a, what's it called? Not a strike.
It was the NBA lockout season. And their losses were all blowouts. They weren't close. The Pistons are losing close games. It's not like we're getting blown out every night. Now, does the occasional blowout happen? Yes. It happens with every team. Every single team has been blown out at some point this season. Every team. It's just we're not good enough to get over the hump on all of these games. If we had, let's say we signed Cam Johnson, let's say we made a trade for another shooter, we are in play-in discussions right now, just like I predicted. But because the pieces aren't working together, and you can't really see that unless you're either at the practice every day or they start playing games, until you see that, sure, the play-in for this team was a fair expectation, if you look at it on paper. But 28 games, it's now over. The 7-game losing streak is now over with the win against the Washington Wizards on the road, which we talked about previously on this program. We got Minnesota tonight. Not Sacramento. Minnesota tonight. Hopefully the Pistons could pull off an upset. Who knows? The Timberwolves could rest some players. They are on the first half of a back-to-back. We'll see.
Right now, all I see is Anthony Edwards as a game-time decision.
Which is huge.
And then for
That's
the Pistons, obviously Muscala and Gallinari are game-time decisions. Boyan, I think, is out with a calf injury.
I thought I saw him listed as probable, but that could have been Bogdan.
I could be wrong. But he's a game-time decision right now, as well as Malcolm. Is it Cazalone?
Cazzalone.
That might be for our G. Are you on NBA.com or ESPN?
ESPN. I think he's G League.
They include the G League two-way players, which, by the way, why are they rotting in the G League, averaging 20 points a game each?
Seriously.
Bring them up.
Jared Rhoden,
Seriously.
please.
Where's Rhoden and Umude when you need them?
Yeah.
Seriously. Also, Kevin Knox.
Yeah.
Turning into a heck of a role bench player.
I think if
He's been coming up really
if
big.
we keep this guy for the long run, he will be one of the best role players in the league.
He'll be fine. And I don't understand why we got rid of him at first. And when we brought him back, I'm like, oh, here we go with Kevin Knox, because he averaged, 4 points with Portland. He wasn't that great. But in this system, he works.
That sounds right. Minnesota
well.
favored by, let's see, the spread is 11.5. 11.5 as of right now.
We are
So basically, they're saying we're gonna lose by 22.
Yes, and really quickly, Wingstop employees, I hope you all are okay after the Pistons' victory against the Wizards. I'm just wanting to do it. This is a personal check-in from someone who's been in the food industry,
Yeah.
slinging tacos at Taco Bell.
No.
How?
By the way, I am so excited for
I
that
hope
new
you all
value
are
menu.
okay.
I am so excited for the new value menu at Taco Bell.
the $3.
The $3 and under menu. They
That
brought back
started
the nachos.
that started 6 days ago, I want to say.
Oh, man.
At least at our store. So it's probably up and running right now. So maybe the next time you all are in town, fellow Lake Orion gentlemen to my left
Yes,
here,
sir.
come on through to Clarkston.
Hey, I might have to visit the Clarkston Taco Bell. You know what I'm saying? Got to ring that bell if you know what I mean.
I unfortunately don't live near Clarkston. I am 40 minutes out from Clarkston, so I might swing by before I go places.
For real though, if
Well, yo, let's go places.
if y'all come to Clarkston though, I gotta take y'all to some of the restaurants in
Oh, yeah.
Clarkston. I mean, that's like the thing we're known for, especially
Other than basketball.
Other than basketball, there you go. Especially with the new steakhouse that they're building downtown.
Oh, really? There's a new steakhouse?
Yeah, it used to be that old Rudy's Diner, or that Rudy's Market, and now they're gonna make it into a Rudy's Steakhouse.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Rudy's getting into the steak game, I guess.
Yes, Rudy's are getting into the
Rudy
steak
gay.
game. And shout out Clarkston basketball really quickly since you brought him up. The boys team has been having a little rough time here. They're on a 3-game losing streak. But how about the girls team? They're 8-2 on the year so far. I could
Good
definitely
bounce
see
back after that loss to Lake Orion last year. In the playoffs.
Yeah, we don't mention that
I was
around here,
covering that
Anthony.
game. I was covering that game. I
Oh,
was
I'm
on the
sh-
floor for that one. That was
I'm
great.
sure you were.
That was great. My highlight package went off on YouTube.
Oh, I tell you guys, many years later, fellow Clarkston Lake Orion alums, we still go at it
Oh,
with
yeah,
each other.
of course,
But I
of
promise you, it's all out of love
It's all in good games.
We have
I
no
guess you could
beef. We
say-
just love
Do
making
you
fun of
think,
each other.
Michael, do you think that the women's team is going to make the MHSAA playoffs?
Oh, I could definitely see this team making a run. And do I see them making it far? I'm going to say no, because during, especially their first beginning of the games of the season, really quickly, their defense has been kind of shaky, and it's been kind of gradually improving as the game goes along, but they have a lot of offensive weapons. Ellie Roback's continuing to dominate. Valencia's getting great looks down low. Brooklyn Covert is a monster on defense, and she can convert it into good offense. Overall, I love the team, and who knows, hopefully I can make it back to Clarkston and cover some of their games soon, but in the future, we'll be getting ready for the lacrosse season, I know, coming up in... I think practices begin March, and then we begin in April. So hopefully, once the semester ends, I can head back and help them out with that. Quick shout out with Clarkston. That was a ramble. My apologies.
I guess you could say that loss last year in the playoffs made you a broken man, perchance.
Yes, it really made it. And really quickly, just for the people, I may provide a little soundbite for the show. I'm a broken man.
That's beautiful. Oh, man. For folks that don't know, whenever Clarkston loses, he does say that quite often because he is quite tied to that Clarkston team. It is commendable, my friend. We're going to move on to the Michigan National Championship because this needs to be talked about. Folks, we're national champions. We're a champion. We're champions.
Woo! This is the golden age of just Michigan football.
We're champions. Can you believe it, folks? We're champions. Michigan, Corum had a great performance. Donovan Edwards with those two tutties. Explosive tutties.
The Don said, hey, don't you forget, guys, I can still score when you need me to.
And that's a good preview into next year and what he might be able to do for us. He is coming back next year. Thank goodness. He's coming back next year. J.J. McCarthy, he was slinging the rock. Defense, shout out defense, making life absolutely miserable for Michael Penix. That was one of the best defensive performances I've seen against a very good offense in a while. They could not do anything, especially in that first quarter.
That first quarter was all Michigan, and I think that is a testament to one of their keys of the game that we could probably all take away from it. Get to Michael Penix. Do not allow him to stay on the gridiron for longer than he needs to. His place that he should be is on the sidelines.
Just like they got to Milroe. It worked against Alabama. Why can't it work against Washington? And it worked.
It worked. Oh, I got to tell you, when Donovan Edwards scored those 2 touchdowns on consecutive carries, 1 and 2, I was going nuts.
Oh, yeah.
I was going nuts. I am so excited that Donovan Edwards is coming back for Michigan next season.
Fun.
It is going to be extremely fun. Michigan had pretty much a full, I don't want to say a full clean sweep because you are getting a few returners, but for the most part, 85 to 90% is a clean sweep. J.J. McCarthy declared. Blake Corum declared. A.J. Barner even declared. Is Colston Loveland coming back, or did he declare?
He's a sophomore, I believe.
Okay.
He's going to be a junior next year.
I don't remember seeing that headline, but that makes sense that he would come back. That'll be good.
Sandra Strill, he's gone.
Sandra Still's gone.
He's gone.
Zinter's gone. Michael Barrett's gone. So pretty much the house has been cleaned out.
Yep. And Harbaugh's probably gone too, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Harbaugh,
I would not doubt it.
DC is gone.
I would not doubt it that Harbaugh's gone.
Honestly, here's a little dark horse. If Aaron Glenn leaves, I could see Michigan's defensive coordinator coming up to the Lions.
Imagine if
Jesse
the Lions
Minter.
Get Jesse Minter.
If
that
Aaron
would
Glenn,
be special.
because I could see Aaron Glenn taking the bag and getting a head coaching job. I could see Ben Johnson staying because if you look at all these coordinators, he's a smart man. He knows he could get a lot of money from the Lions to keep him here because he is what runs this offense. You keep Ben Johnson here, and he says, you know what, I don't want to turn into another recent story of a good coordinator turned terrible coach and absolutely ruin my career for a bag. I can get almost just as much amount of money, stay with this team, right? And then the Lions, they lose Glenn. You bring in Jesse Minter, you bring in a couple cornerbacks, you address defense in the draft, and you've got a scary team against a schedule that you can easily go 11 to 13 wins in. Just saying. J.C. Minter could be up for grabs, especially if Sharon Moore wants to clean house and have his own coaching staff. I could see it happening. I really could.
Yeah, but do you think Minter will connect with these guys? Because you've seen not only in football, but in basketball, you see college coaches go professionally and they don't really connect with these guys.
I think the way he connected with in college, to be able to connect with your players every year, there's different players fluid coming in and out of your system. From what I've seen, Minter seems to connect with all of his players in a way that they play together. I think he could do the same with the Lions, especially because Hutch is there. I think he could bring the best out of Hutch, and that could be scary. Hutch could be having TJ Watt type numbers next year.
He could. That would be great from a Michigan connection, too, just the general basis of a Michigan connection.
I mean, if we draft Sanders still, which I want to draft Sanders still, as a good cornerback, too, that can catch a ball.
Praying that the DeVos family buys out the Lions.
If we could somehow get Mikey Sainristil to the Lions, that would be that would be really, really interesting. And I could see, again, the Lions just being Lions are going to be a great team again next year.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Last but not least on today's program, we have NFL Wild Card. And what a wild card weekend it was. Not really, because a lot of games were blowouts. We had, was it one good game? Two good games if we want to count Buffalo?
One.
The Lions were the only good game, and of course it's our team giving us a hard tack. We couldn't just blow them out? I'm kidding. The wild card round of the playoffs is always fun because you have so many games. The Peacock controversy, making folks pay $5.99 for a subscription to watch a playoff game, the first ever playoff game that is not on cable television.
Mm-hmm. Making Swifties pay, which that Roger Goodell is genius, marketing. I think, personally.
So our first game of the weekend was, I believe, Browns versus Texans.
Yes.
You are correct.
And the Texans, it was a good game through 1.5 quarters. Mm-hmm. And then the Texans were like, you know what, let's stop playing around. Joe Flacco, cute story over there in Cleveland, but let's take care of business. C.J. Stroud, what a performance. I mean, just incredible stuff from Stroud. Nico Collins had a great game. Other than that one play where he literally, no wide receiver moves, straight down the line, and he can't get to it. It was on Stroud. I think it was on both players in that situation, but obviously young players, they're still learning how to play with each other. Their backup tight end, completely forget his name, but he had a big explosive touchdown in that one. Texans and Browns, Texans winning 45-14. The next game, another blowout. Chiefs-Dolphins, 26-7. Chiefs take it. Travis, I don't know what's happened to Travis Kelce. Very disappointing, I'd say, as of late, his play. But Rashee Rice, let's talk about that guy.
Rashee Rice.
Rice
my
is him,
goodness.
dude.
Finally, right? Patrick Mahomes is saying finally. He finally has a receiver catching them balls.
Exactly. He doesn't have to worry about Kadarius Toney out there. And even Travis Kelce. Mecole Hardman.
Valdez-Scantling.
Marquez Valdez-Scantling, yep.
But you'd think saying all this, that's not that bad. Oh, to the contrary. To the contrary, it is that bad.
Hot take. I think the dark horse, just Justin Jefferson probably might.
I don't know. He wants to play for the Lions.
Trade.
I
think his dark horse will be the Chiefs. I feel like that will be Patrick Mahomes' Randy Moss, Brady connection.
Yeah.
If he goes to the Chiefs, it's over.
I like that comparison.
But just Rashee Rice.
What a guy.
Oh
what a
my
performance.
God. And Pacheco, too. Pacheco had a really good game.
Pacheco's good. I love Pacheco.
He faked going straight in the middle and run right to the left. Yep. Touchdown. That's the Jahmyr Gibbs way.
You need to abuse the run in that game. No, I don't even think Amon-Ra St. Brown would catch all the balls in that game with how frozen the ball was and how cold it was outside. Someone pulled a water out of a fridge, and it instantly froze to a solid brick of ice. Beers were exploding in the crowd. It was a very cold one, and Chiefs fans still stuck it out. $30 tickets, hey.
Hats off to them. And Andy Reid's mustache, although as gross as that was, in my opinion, were literally icicles.
Yep.
And the fact...
I just can't get that image out of my head, as disgusting as it is.
Having allergies with a mustache in negative 30-degree weather is a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely. I don't know about you guys, but I am so pumped to see the Chiefs and the Bills rematch. How many times have we seen the Chiefs and the Bills in the postseason?
But this time, it's in Allen's house.
This is Patrick Mahomes' first ever.
He's going to have the Bills Mafia on his side.
This is Patrick Mahomes' first career road playoff game. First one of his career.
Really?
That's interesting, yeah.
It's the first one.
We're going to see how he
Every
does.
game that he has played in the playoffs has been at home in Kansas City, except for Buffalo. And Buffalo is going to be colder than Kansas City. It's the frozen tundra. They had to reschedule the Steelers game.
And it's going to be cold this weekend.
And it's going to be freezing.
It's going to be a polar ice cap.
Now, not only in Buffalo or Kansas City, but here in Michigan, too.
Yeah, it's going to be very cold.
It's going to be cold. And I don't know how Patrick Mahomes is going to do. I hope it snows so we get another snow game.
Mm-hmm.
However, I can't wait for that game.
How about Tua turn the ball over?
He turned the ball over.
He did indeed turn that ball over.
Very disappointing performance from the Dolphins. Packers Cowboys. Jordan Love almost had a perfect QBR. Almost, if it wasn't for a late game drop because the Cowboys decided to score a touchdown. He would have been the first rookie to ever have a perfect QBR in a playoff game. And if it wasn't for an easy drop. But the Packers take care of business, giving the Lions a home game this week. The Lions and Rams, 24-23. We already discussed that.
Bye-bye,
Bills,
Kelly Stafford.
Steelers. Yeah, bye, Kelly. Bills, Steelers, 31-17. Bills take that one. Closer than most of the games this weekend, but still a convincing win for Buffalo. And finally,
huge first half for Buffalo.
Huge. And finally, Buccaneers just absolutely stunned the Eagles, 32-9, forcing Jason Kelce to retire.
Yes.
What a wild card weekend. It sets up a divisional round, which we will cover on this show next week. That's all we have for today's show this week. Season 2, Episode 1 of Card Guys. Thanks for tuning in, whether it's on the radio or on YouTube. 91.5 The Mountain, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in next Monday when we recap the NFL divisional round. And hey, maybe the Pistons notch another W in that win column.
Hey, we have a very easy schedule after Minnesota.
We back to back against the Bucks at home isn't necessarily.
Well, you can't beat
easy.
a team twice, but the Pistons.
It's the Pistons. We could blow them out by 50 points both games. Who knows what team we're going to get? You never know. For my good buddies, Ryan Donnelly and Michael Rosenkranz, I'm Anthony Schulte saying so long, everybody.
Love you, Mom and Dad. Have a great day.